You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of a fascinating film of The Land of Saints and Sinners, directed by a fascinating man, Robert Lorenz. He has been involved in so many huge films, a lot of them with Clint Eastwood, Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, An American Sniper, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Like, he's been involved in lots of films as on the production level, a first assistant director level, and he has directed only 3 films: Trouble with the Curve, I haven't seen, The Marksman, and this one. So I have spoken at length, and I'm not going to go into it in depth, but about how I'm an aficionado of Liam Neeson post-Taken action movies and Jason Statham action movies. And I would add there's 2 newcomers to this realm of B-movie superhero, and that's Russell Crowe and Gerard Butler, who are amassing their own interesting filmographies. But for the Liam Neesoners, it's been a really rough period. He reached this apex after Taken of some truly fantastic films. The Grey, Run All Night, Cold Pursuit. These really interesting takes on the genre, and the last 5 years there's been so many really terrible films. So I had my interest piqued by the fact that this has actually got his best reviews for this kind of film for years. Rightly so. This is, if you can imagine, the Banshees of Inisherin, but with a gangster touch on it, you're basically there. It doesn't have the depth in the writing of the characters necessarily, but honestly, this is really good. So Liam Neeson is a hitman for the local gangster, and the local gangster is who's the cast is actually really good in this. Cole Meany, who you will have seen in 100 films. He's a local gangster, and he's actually quite an in-depth character because he's not that evil in many ways. What I expected to happen here is different to what did happen. So Liam Neeson's been his hitman for years. He came back from World War II and his wife died and he became an alcoholic and blah, blah, blah. And the local gangster took him under his wing, which is what he did to another of the protagonists in the film. Jack Gleason in the film as well. He was taken under the wing. Liam Neeson goes on one last trip where he basically bundles people that the local gangster wants dead into the boot of his car and takes them to this sheltered area in the woods and shoots them, and after they've dug their own grave, and plants a tree on top of them without malice or menace. He gives them a minute to speak before it happens and to say, and the last guy he takes out says, you know, I'm one of you. I'm basically someone that was a hitman, and I realized that what it was doing to me, and tried to make something of my life to do things for other people, and you need to do that. And it really triggers something inside him, and he quits. And what I expected to happen then is the trope of, you can't quit, we're going to drag you back in no matter what, which has happened in dozens of films. But that doesn't happen here. He's like, okay, I support you in your new life challenges, which is growing an allotment and chatting up his neighbour. Unfortunately, there's an IRA terror attack in, I think, Belfast, where an absolutely fantastic Kerry Condon, who was the female lead in Banshees of Inisherin. She's a very different character here. She's a brutal, violent IRA bomber. And she leads a team of bombers, and they mistakenly kill a number of children who appear at the last minute, and they've got no time to turn the bomb off, and they go on the run, and they end up in the same town that Liam Neeson's in, with one of the guy's sister-in-laws. And Liam Neeson discovers the sister-in-law's daughter's got bruises all over her, and she's fishing for food, and she's really young, and she's terrified, which leads him to understand that these people are hiding out on her mother's farm. And he decides to take matters in his own hands and kill this guy that's been brutalizing this very young girl, which he does. And there's a younger hitman that replaces him, played by Jack Gleason, who's a sort of occupies the same place as I've got my brain. The young guy who's everywhere now, but who played the third role in Banshees of Inisherin, who ended up topping himself when he was rejected by Kerry Condon, who was in. Oh God, he's been in everything. I can't remember his name, but you know who I mean. He occupies the same place as that guy, as he's a bit psychotic, but the more the movie moves on, you realise that he's got a lot of heart and soul to him as well. He's a new hitman, and he decides to help Liam Neeson because the rest of this IRA cell turn on him and come looking for him in this small town, wreaking havoc. Kerry Condon is the brother of the guy that Liam Neeson killed. So she won't leave, and it all gets... It's, you know, the storyline is fairly inevitable. Kieran Hines, a fantastic actor, is the local police officer. There's like some of the background characters are exemplary played. Sarah Green, I thought was great as Sinead, the local pub owner whose daughter's the one being abused. And Liam Neeson's fantastic. You know, it's everything about this film is a cut above what those actioners recently are. The only one I would have kept from the last 5 years is The Marksman. This time around, the cinematography and the music are on a par with the Banshees of Inisherin, which is completely shocking. Tom Stern is a cinematographer. I was just seeing if he's actually done anything recently. Oh, he did American Sniper. Yeah, nothing amazing. And the music as well, which is really stirring and very, very good. I wonder what films they've done. Could look up this stuff before, couldn't I? No, nothing. They're a trio. Diego Baldenweg, Nora Baldenweg, and Lionel Baldenweg are a trio, and they make the music, which is full-blooded and pastoral when it needs to be, and great. And the whole pub scene and everything in Sinead's pub is fantastic, and the atmosphere is thick. The landscapes are beautiful, and the moral compunctions are compelling. The characters are a little bit superficial. It doesn't go very far below the surface, but there's so much here to recommend this over any Liam Neeson film in recent times, particularly having the adult concepts and the idea of it being set in a particular time period, 1974, and involving the IRA and local gangsters and the local police and making it much more set in reality. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked it. It probably does fall down in a few areas, but overall, I really liked it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for In the Land of Saints and Sinners. It's a happy day for Liam Neeson actioner fans.